Jesse James's hideout, guys.
There's a gun. There's a gun in a bucket.
Yeah, it's wet.
Can we go into Jesse James's hideout?
I don't want you to do that.
No.
Because it's really low, you'd have to crawl down in there, and then you might not come out, and then I'd have to come in after you, and someone might accidentally set off the gun. Just kidding, it's not.
I was like,
That'd be nuts to have a real.
yeah, because
Well, up here on the right, we have our Jesse James hideout. Now, there are 22 show caves in the state of Missouri. Of those, 17 of them claim to have been refuge to the infamous Jesse James. Well, only 2 of them actually have proof to back up that claim, and we are one of those caves, as Jesse James actually signed his name and dated it September 22nd, 1879, in one of the passageways of the cave. Now, we don't know the exact spot where he did decide to hide out in the cave, because it's not like he went around town telling everybody about it, but this probably would have made for one of the best spots, as he could have easily fit 8 to 10 of his men in this chamber, as well as their supplies. And most importantly, there are 3 separate entrances to this chamber. One down there where the sign is, one right about where you're standing, and a third one down here where I am, which would have given Jesse James and his gang lots of options in the case that they needed to make a quick getaway. Well, we're about to come up on the narrowest portion of our cave tour route. It's only about 17 inches wide at its narrowest point. It's what we call the lemon squeeze or fat man's misery. Now, I've never had anyone get stuck in it before, but if you do, I have a plan just in case. I'll pull from the front, so I'll get someone else to push from the back, and if that doesn't work, well, I guess you're out of luck, because this is the last tour of the day.
This is your last tour of your life.
I'm not even kidding.
That's really ominous sound.
Honestly, this is not.
Are you like planning on murdering me?
No, 17 inches wide is big.
Right, 17 inches wide is what I hope to have my bed. Like that's how big my bed is.
I think everybody in here can. Ooh, that could be a
Jesse.
Jesse.
Down here, if you want to see them, those were the ones that we were talking about. The early, yeah, you can touch it. The early explorers thought those were diamonds.
I thought they were dead.
Yeah, because you obviously said that.
Well, you're in good company. Lots of people thought they were diamonds over the years. That's the skinny part, by the way. You guys didn't know.
And I knew they were because I'm small.
I think all the kids can. Because we're not fat. Alligator!
That way. Oh, this does look like an alligator.
Yeah. Sometimes we call it a crocodile.
Crocodile. That would be smart to go down there.
Yeah.
Do you think it's in the tall, Brian?
I'm looking for. I'm guessing Brian wrote his name somewhere like this.
We're looking for Brian.
What's it?
Get up there.
Did you date it? They were very careful about it. Also, you could probably climb up on this and stand on it, but you shouldn't. That's against the rules. They should have jumped up there. Oh, no.
Jeff!
Especially since it's against the rules. And I have to tell you.
Where's your dad?
Some people would put a candle up next to the wall, and would leave a spot of soot like that, and then they carve their name out of the soot. So that's what like this one is, and that one is. That's soot that they carved out of. But this one right here, this is paint. So they would bring paint in, and then if you look down like here, there's some scratches. Some they're mostly scratched out, but you can see some people wrote their names just by carving them. Actually, that might be considered. Some people wrote their names in tons of different ways.
Where's your dad? Where's your dad's Owen? I don't know.
We already passed it.
No, he doesn't know. He doesn't know where it's at.
But he doesn't sign it because I've seen it before. Seen it now.
There's no earthquake now. Why?
When you talk about
Earthquakes are like to be in a cave. Earthquakes.
There's Geo. It's not a real person. It's a drawing of a person. We don't know who. I think it looks like Colonel Sanders. Well, if you've looked up at all, you can probably guess why we call this portion of the cave Autograph Alley. Now, there are between 500,000 and 1 million signatures on the walls of the cave, and up until 1972, your tour guide probably would have actually encouraged you to write your name on the walls of the cave. However, before 1972, or as of 1972, Twain Cave became a national landmark, making it a felony to do so. So, like I mentioned before, please don't do that anymore. However, before 1972, you can see that a lot of people wrote their names in lots of different ways, including using paint that they would bring into the cave with them for writing their name with, a sharp instrument such as a knife to carve their name out of the wall of the cave, or sit from their candles. A few people even wrote their names using berry juice or red paint, so if you see any red signatures, please do not freak out, it is not blood.
And red paint.
Really carefully.
See, this is the post office. Oh, that's cool. I told you. I told you there's a post office.
Hey, don't touch the light switches, guys.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't you, because you're not wearing light.
Me either.
So let's see, did you do it after 1972 or did you do it after 1972?
That's what
There's another picture. That one is of Mark Twain directly. It was drawn by this guy who was a cartoonist from St. Louis.
He's really good.
Yeah.
The guy who anyone who's good at anything is from St. Louis. That's just how it is.
Except in soccer.
Up there, we found the bread. James Brown.
I would have liked coming here before 1970.
Yeah, I would have signed mine like right
Well,
there.
there's still a...
I wouldn't. I would climb like way up there so that people wouldn't be able to mess with it. Who keeps on flicking the switches?
You do, Leo.
Wow, look at that. That's kind of cool. It's like a little bridge.
Aww.
Yeah.
Mommy,
There's a
Oh, I know.
It's a fish.
Oh, this is the part where they turn off the light.
Oh, that's mine.
Ooh, it is? It is?
I was wondering what that was.
Come on! Good thing it wasn't too lost. Did exactly what he said.
And it looks like a shoe.
No, that's not.
The roof.
Yes, it looks like a face. That's bat poop. It's a face.
That doesn't make any sense. How's it go up?
I know.
They have Mexican food.
Bats have really talented aim.
Jeff, they have Mexican food.
Aim and fire.
Alright, well right now we're in Grand Avenue, which is the longest and widest chamber in the cave. It extends for a fourth of a mile in that direction, as well as a fourth of a mile in that direction, making for a half mile in all. Now, does anybody want to guess how deep we are right now?
No.
In feet.
9,000.
9,000 feet? We're actually only about 250 feet below the surface right now. Now, you might have noticed that we didn't really go down very much over the course of the tour, but the hill has gone up over us, which is why we're so much deeper than we were when we started out. Now, another thing, anybody want to guess what made these lovely brown spots on the ceiling? And I'll give you a hint. It was not the men and women's restrooms. Hey, you got it right off the bat. This is where bats used to hang out. These bats are only about the size of a grown man's thumb, but there'd be so many of them that they'd actually run out of space and be forced to piggyback off of each other. Sometimes there'd be so many layers of piggybacking bats that they'd form enormous bat columns that would stretch all the way down to the ground.
Ew.
Now, the reason why it's discolored up here is actually from the oil on the bat's skin rubbing off onto the ceiling, giving it this nice brown shade. And the reason why there's a little bit of a hole or indentation in the middle is from the carbon dioxide that the bats breathe out, actually rotting away the ceiling over time. So there were a lot of bats here for a long time. Well, in the book The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Becky Thatcher were having a picnic outside about where our parking lot is now. It's not supposed to be on. And eventually, after a while of hanging out at the picnic, one of the other kids that they were with yelled, "Who's ready for the cave?" And of course, everybody wanted to go into the cave. That was the whole point of having a picnic right next to the cave in the first place. So they all handed out some candles and went up the side of the hill and went into the cave. And with a couple dozen children exploring the cave with nothing but candlelight, that would look something about like this. Well, at this point, I'd like to ask you to please turn off any and all electronic lights.